The digital clock on the bedside table glowed 3 a.m. Ethan, 33 years old and 9 years married, lay awake, his mind a relentless, looping stream of self-recrimination. The rhythmic, steady breathing of his wife, Maya, beside him offered little comfort. Instead, it felt like an auditory testament to his failure. His life was supposed to be a tapestry woven with success, not a frayed remnant of broken promises. 9 years ago, he was a hopeful, talented web developer. Now he was just a burden. The small one-bedroom apartment they rented felt stifling. They were here because he couldn't hold a job. Maya, 31, a brilliant architect with a fire in her belly, was the one bringing in the meager income, forced back to the office when Ethan's job search became a desolate stretch of endless rejections. Every Thursday, like clockwork, his phone would chime. A transaction, $1,000 from his father, Richard. The texts were always short. "Got food on the table, son? Call me." Richard was a man of quiet concern, his money a desperate attempt to shore up the sinking ship of his son's mental health. Ethan hated accepting it, feeling the sharp sting of dependency, yet without it, their already tight budget, especially with a 14-year-old stepson, Liam, and their 7-year-old Noah, would collapse entirely. He had tried. He had truly tried. Every tutorial, every application, every late-night coding session that ended with a website that nobody needed. And through it all, he had prayed. For years, he'd knelt, not asking for riches, but for a simple, honest job, a means to provide, a way to tell Maya, "It's okay, I have this." "Give me a purpose, God," he used to whisper into the silence. "Just let me be a provider. Let me keep my promises." But the silence was all that ever answered. Over time, the fervent prayers had become rote, then hollow, and finally they ceased. His faith had not just been lost, it had been painstakingly chipped away by a relentless, indifferent reality. He felt utterly disconnected, stranded in a spiritual vacuum. The blow came 4 months ago. The phone call was brief and brutal. Richard had passed away peacefully in his sleep. The grief was suffocating, but soon a colder, more immediate terror took hold. The weekly transfer, the lifeline, was gone. Their expenses, suddenly monstrous, swallowed Maya's income whole. The anxiety became a physical presence, a knot in his chest that never loosened. The pressure to shield his family, to fulfill the traditional role he felt bound to, became unbearable. Liam, his stepson, was a bright, perceptive boy. Though Ethan hadn't been his biological father, he'd raised him, loved him, and Liam looked up to him with unquestioning respect. Noah, 7, was a whirlwind of energy and pure joy. Maya, his anchor, his greatest supporter, still looked at him with love and deep respect. "You'll land it, E," she'd say, placing a warm hand on his cheek. "You're the smartest man I know." Her unwavering belief only deepened his despair. He couldn't fulfill the promises implicit in their love, in their marriage, in the very act of fatherhood. It was a Tuesday morning, the usual routine: drop Noah and Liam off at school, then Maya at her office complex. The boys' chatter and Maya's comforting presence kept the darkness at bay. After dropping them off, Ethan was alone in the car, a battered, old sedan he hadn't been able to afford proper maintenance for in over a year. The silence in the cabin was suddenly immense, amplifying the roar of his internal anguish. He didn't mean to start. One moment he was gripping the steering wheel, the next, his throat was constricting. He didn't ask why. That implied a curiosity he no longer possessed. He didn't pray, he yelled. Not out loud, but with every fiber of his being, a voiceless, tearing shriek aimed at the heavens. He felt betrayed, abandoned. "You saw me trying. You saw me broken. You saw my children. Where were you? I asked for a job, not a miracle." And the disconnect was absolute. It felt as if he was screaming into a dead, empty line. Tears, hot and sharp, blurred his vision. He wasn't looking at the road. He was staring into the void of his own failure. He missed the slowdown, the changing traffic, the warning thrumming through the chassis. The defective tie rod, ignored too long, finally gave way. The steering wheel jerked violently, uselessly. The shriek of tearing metal and glass was deafening. He burst through the windscreen, a projectile of human defeat. He landed on his back on the cold asphalt. The pain was distant, secondary to the crushing, all-consuming despair. He stared up at the indifferent blue sky, the chaos of the wrecked car behind him. He wasn't crying anymore. He was too tired. Just let it end. But guilt, the last bitter taste of love, fought through the haze. Maya, the boys, the only thing he could salvage now was his final pathetic contribution, the policy. He hoped the funeral policy was still paid up, that it would cover the cost of his burial, and maybe, just maybe, there would be enough left over for his wife to pay off some of the credit card debt he'd accrued trying to keep up appearances. That's the best I could do. His eyelids felt heavy, weighted with the years of struggle. The world began to shrink, the blue sky darkening into a suffocating black. He didn't have the strength to fight for the life he had so miserably failed to live. We now go back to Maya at work. Her phone in the locker rings continuously, unheard. She feels an unknown longing or worry. Tea time arrives. Maya rushes to her locker, unlocks her phone, and sees a flood of missed calls from unknown numbers. She attempts to call back using social media/Wi-Fi, but fails due to platform mismatch and budget constraints. Worry escalates. She notes that Ethan hasn't picked up Noah, 1 p.m., or Liam, 3 p.m. She tries sending texts during lunch, but there is no immediate response, unlike Ethan's norm. Anxiety builds as she dismisses it, thinking he's just driving. The day goes on and it's time to go home. Maya rushes to the parking lot. Ethan and Noah are not waiting for her as always. There's an immediate panic. She calls Ethan's mom, then desperately calls Liam's phone. Liam answers, confirming Ethan never came for them. She makes a decision. Knowing this is entirely unlike Ethan, she borrows money from a coworker for a taxi and rushes home, her heart pounding. She arrives at home. At home, she frantically calls everyone. No one knows where he is. As it gets late, a knock comes at the door. She opens the door to 2 police officers with their hats held respectfully. They deliver the news of the horrible accident. Maya falls to her knees, the ground swept away. Her eyes are wide, motionless, and she is too deep in shock to hear the officer's remaining words. Maya arranges for the neighbor to watch the boys and goes with the officers to the morgue. Arriving at the hospital, she identifies Ethan's body, sees the devastating state of his injuries, and finally breaks down, unable to pretend anymore. She calls Ethan's mother, his brothers, John and Matthew, and sister, Dean, as well as her own mother. They all arrive to offer support and help with arrangements. John offers to drive Maya home because his mother cannot see well at night. She retrieves the boys from the neighbor. She goes straight to her room to prepare documents for the funeral parlor. She remembers Ethan's instructions. The $100,000 policy, which will collapse once collected. Her own $100,000 policy. She did the math. Funeral, $27,000. Debt, $14,000. Leaving a surplus of $59,000. Total amount remaining, $159,000. Ethan's instructions. She is to use the $59,000 for living expenses for a year and to purchase online short courses to study further and gain marketable skills, focusing on work rather than mourning. She feels the truth of Ethan's personality. Never like surprises and always have a plan and keeping pace 2 steps ahead. The final worry and hope. Her heart breaks a worrying about telling Liam and Noah, wishing Ethan was there with his way with words. She clings to the hope that his spiritual belief that he would watch over them is true. If you want to continue watching the story, please like and subscribe to this channel.